My name is Mendy Laval, and thank you so much for joining us today for Life, Leadership, and Legacy, an opportunity to listen, learn, and be inspired by some of the most accomplished leaders in the Central Valley. Joining me today is Helen Hansen, founder and president of La Tapatia. La Tapatia produces tortilla and tortilla products that are shipped all over the United States. In fact, they're shipped worldwide under 100 different brand names. In addition to growing a very successful business for decades, Helen has continually given back to our community. She is a constant force anytime that anything is needed, and she is quite inspiring to me personally. So thank you, Helen, for being with us today, and let's get started. Helen, I'm really delighted to have you here. I've admired you from afar, and I've listened to you many times speak, and you're just an amazing ambassador for our community, and definitely somebody that I wanted to be with on this panel and in this series. Jumping right in, you just have this leadership energy, and I think everything you do and everything you touch just really shines through, and people want to follow you. What's the most important leadership lesson you've learned, and how has it proven to be invaluable?
Oh, boy. I think I'm self-taught when it comes to that because I've really never considered myself as a leader, nor did I consider myself a follower, just a doer. You know, if it was something that I really enjoyed doing, I did it. And so when I became involved with La Tapatia, when it first started out, I asked myself many questions about what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And as the company developed and we started hiring more employees, I thought it was very important to connect with my employees. I bring them into the office and say, what do we need to do? What are our needs? Please tell me. They were just as much as afraid as I was, what are we doing here? And so I learned a lot from them because these are people that had already worked in other industries and knew more than I did as far as food processing. So as time went on and the business started to grow, one of the things that I learned that if you bring people in and you talk to them and learn to motivate them and become their cheerleader, they start feeling more confident in themselves. So I can honestly say, because sales was probably the one thing that I really enjoyed at La Tapatia, I was their sole salesperson, and I had a team of almost 40 drivers, and I was their cheerleader. I would bring them in and we'd talk about what did happen today, what happened during the week, what are the issues that you're encountering. And then I started listing all these things and putting it together. And how are we going to do this? I said, we became so good at what we were doing as far as service. I used to tell them, it doesn't matter. And it matters what our competition is doing. We're always concerned about that. But what is it that we can do better than they can? And honestly, it's service. And we were so motivated with the service. I said, we became a thorn on their side. There was nothing that they could do that they could beat us. I would preach this constantly. This is our backyard, and no one should service it better than we do. And you have to do that, hurrah, hurrah. You have to be there to support them, to listen to them, to solve the problems, to be there on site when needed. It's very important because a lot of people need that. And if you motivate them, they in turn start motivating their customers and even the consumers when they're in this, in the stores. So for me, that was how I learned to be a leader as far as motivating. And then now that I've gotten a little older, I'm starting to mentor now. I'm starting to mentor some of the new employees, in fact, new interns that we've recently hired, because I have things that I can share with them and they can take that experience or stories that I've encountered through all the years, and they can take that experience and those words of hopefully of wisdom, and they can utilize that.
Well, I think it's true. A couple things that just hit me as a truism is in our organization, we had a saying, and every employee, whether they were working in our shipping or manufacturing areas, everybody is in sales. Everybody is in sales and is there to service our customers. It doesn't matter what your position is. And I love that about your drive for providing the service and really providing that experience that that allows for people to want to come back to you. The other thing is I thank you so much for doing internships in your company, because I think as somebody who's gotten involved with Fresno State for a number of years, I see that for all students, whether they're at Fresno City, at Pacific, at Fresno State, Clovis, really, it doesn't matter where. Having that internship opportunity and having that ability to be mentored and to learn what really happens within an organization is the best education you can provide. And I really applaud you and your company for doing that. I know it's a scary step for a lot of companies, but I think it's really well worth it from the student perspective. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
You know, you've been involved also in the community, and one of the things I was really excited about is over the years your involvement in the Food Expo, but you've done so many other things. What motivates you to want to do things in our community? Why participate? You're a very busy professional. You're continuing to grow this worldwide organization. Why give to the community?
I think it's something that grows with you as your company grows, and you become more exposed to the community, and then you have community reaching out to you, schools reaching out to you, the churches reaching out to you, and for me that's just a fulfilling thing that we're in a position that we can actually help them, you know. And I think it's very important when I hear, you know, can you donate 100 burritos, you know, because we've got a team of kids that are going to be making breakfast burritos next Sunday. And I like that. As long as they're working together and they're working as a team, it just isn't that I've given it to them. Now they're going to work with this product because they're doing this so they can help somebody else. So I think that's really, really important for me. You know, you were talking about the leadership program. We started that program with Fresno State in the mid-90s. And I'm proud to say we still are, that program is still in force right now. In fact, we just had an intern graduate from Fresno State this past May. Well, not this May, I was going to say last year. And she stayed on with us. We offered her a position. And one of the neat things that she mentioned in one of her classes, because she had grown so much, to gain so much experience with our company, is that when her professor was speaking, she was like, "Oh, that's what we do there. I know that. I understand what he's talking about." So she could actually see that he's teaching, but she's already implemented what he's teaching. And I think for me, that's so gratifying. And then what's really nice is these students stay in town, in Fresno.
And it makes it real. And I'm not learning just theory. I'm learning something. When they can make that connection in the classroom, like you just mentioned, it's an amazing moment for a student, because they're thinking, they're not just teaching me theory or something that's in a book. This is real life. This is what I can be doing. And
we put them to work. We put them to work.
Yeah, that's good. There's so many great students at Fresno State who just love having those opportunities. So again, thank you. You know, just talking to you, and when I think of you, I think of passion, because you just excluded. I mean, you're just passionate, but passionate can be something that you're passionate about because you think it's the right thing to do, or something that you love to do. What is your greatest passion?
When it comes to business, besides not the personal, but this is the business part of it, I have two great passions. I love the industry that I'm working in, and I honestly discovered it by chance. Because I walked into a place, I saw something being produced, and I thought maybe this would be, a second income for myself. And it turned out to be, producing tortillas. But I never thought of it as far as being part of the baking industry. And when I discovered we're baking tortillas, we're part of the baking industry. And it's like I could not get enough of it. I couldn't read enough about it. And when the Tortillas Industry Association was founded in 1989, and I received an invitation to attend, I was just the networking, the information that I learned. And then 5 years later, I became their president. I just couldn't get enough of it. I really enjoy the industry, the people, and not just the people that were working with us, but all the vendors that come to visit us, the machinery that we've purchased, the places that I've been able to visit, the invitations I've received to come see what we're doing, all of the workshops I've attended. I love the industry as a whole. And I have to say, my second passion at La Tapatia, sales. I'm actually president of retail sales right now, although my third daughter is running the program now. She's the director, but I love sales. I love being out on the road, meeting with new customers, telling them what a great product, the things that we can do for them, talking to them about my service level, our service level, I should say, and selling them. And I even had one buyer tell me that he's had many people come to sell him things, and he says, you're so refreshing. And I go, really? Because I enjoy what I do.
But when you love what you do, it really comes through. I mean, and I can tell that. I wish that we had our students right in front of you right now in person, because I know they would have a ton of questions to ask you. But because we don't, what would be something that you would want to impart on our students? Either skills that they needed to hone in on, or how they should go about these next steps that they take post their educational experience?
I thought about that, and I wrote down about 5 of them, and I chose one. And one is never be afraid to take chances. Yeah. The worst thing they can tell you is no. That's the worst thing. And you go back and you redo whatever it is that you presented, and you go back again and again. I tell everyone this one story. It took me 10 years to get into one of my largest retail accounts. And it took the right buyer. And sometimes that's all it takes, is the right person that you're meeting with, that understands and can feel and can honestly say, you know what, I want to do business with you. Because I tell them, I want to do business with you.
Yes, and I am so sorry for the little disruption in the back. That's my dog barking, and you can tell that I'm at home and you're at home. We're trying to make this work. But that's so true. I think the fear factor is huge, and I would agree with you. And I think so often it's so easy to say I can't instead of I can, or I will try. And I know in what we do on the entrepreneurial programs at Fresno State is say, try and don't be successful. That's okay. Try again. Try over and over again, and it will work eventually for you. But if you don't try, you'll never know.
That's right. That's correct.
Well, Helen, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope that I'll have another session in person with the students so they could be lined up at that mic asking you a ton of questions. But in the meantime, I really appreciate this, because I think your experience and your background will just be delightful for our students to hear about. And thank you for sharing today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for even thinking about me. I really appreciate that.